Hey YouTube. All right, today we're going to show you how to harden the Ubuntu server for your Cardano nodes. Okay, so in video one of this series, I did a lot of this already, so I don't want to repeat it. I'm going to put video one's, the link to video one in the description. So pause this video, scroll down, go through that video first, because in that video I show you how to log into DigitalOcean, set up some servers, set up SSH keys. I show you how to create a non-root user with sudo privileges in video one, how to add it to the sudo group. We show you how to disable the password authentication in that video. I show you all these steps essentially in that video, and I show you how to change your port number, how to reload SSHD. That's the service that controls the permissions, root permissions, and changing your port number and whatnot. And yeah, so all that is already done. So I don't want to repeat myself on doing that. So watch video one. It's about a 20-minute video, but it has a lot of really good nuggets. And I'm gonna take the tutorial. So essentially, this is kind of like a part two. I've already kind of did part one for harden the Ubuntu system. So to find this tutorial, we're using Cashew. So just type in Cashew Cardano, and it's right here, how to harden an Ubuntu server. I guess we could have also typed in this into Google. I'm sure it will pop up. So, okay, so we're using an Ubuntu servers. I'm using DigitalOcean, so we're using cloud servers. It's really easy to set up. It's all in tutorial number one in video one. So let's skip past this. To log in, you should already have, once you watch that video and you come back to this one, so pause this one, do that video, come back. I'm just going to exit out here just to show. Okay, and then so actually let's clear the screen. Okay, now let's type in this. So SSH -i squigglies /.ssh /Cardano is the name of is our SSH key. That's the name, and Cardano is the user, the super user I made. That's my IP -p, and then 2288 was the port number that I chose. So if you chose a different port when you changed your port in the SSHD config, put that number there, and obviously you also will have to change your IP and also this other information. And you want to really make sure that that works and you're able to log in with your super user before you disable the root, right? So I showed you in video one, like, make sure you're logging in with two different instances to make sure that your new super user can log in. Then you can go ahead and disable root. So I disabled root in the SSD already, but there's another way you can disable it even further. To disable the root account, click here, boom, hit paste, done. Okay, so now you've disabled it. What you've done is you've actually expired the password. That's all you've done. If you someday, say if you want to re-enable it, you use this command to re-enable it. All right. Two-factor authentication. I did not set this up. I don't know. I'm a little bit torn. I think you should have two-factor authentication on everything you own. Your emails, your Facebook, all your social accounts, all your trading accounts, anywhere and everywhere that they ask for it, I think you should set it up. I also think when you're setting it up, if you're married or if you have two iPhones, I would actually even do two iPhones at the same time. So if you have both iPhones open and you have Google Authenticate downloaded and installed on both, and say DigitalOcean, you were setting up two-factor authentication for DigitalOcean, and once you get that QR code, that little scan picture, if you scan them at the exact same time with both phones, you'll be able to use either of those phones for the Google Authenticator. So at the time you're installing two-factor for whatever website or that you're doing it for, if you authenticate it with both phones at the same time, it just gives you an extra phone. So because I usually am not on my phone very often, so my wife's phone, I'm always yelling across the room, hey, can I get the authenticator for this website? Luckily for me, she doesn't mind too much, but if she lost her phone, it maybe throws a bit of a wrench, because then you have to send letters to the administrators of these websites saying, hey, please disable Google authentication, blah, blah, blah. So that's why I didn't really set it up for this, because I have two-factor on every other one of my accounts. And so I think maybe setting up for this, it would be overkill. So that's why if you want to go through and set it up, go for it. But I skipped this step. I didn't do it. All right. Secured shared memory. Now, I also am going to recommend not doing this step, because I just did an update on the Google, I'm on the Cardano nodes from 1.251 to 1.26 dot whatever, and I kept on getting errors. It was very frustrating, and the error messages were a little bit cryptic. It kept on saying I was running out of memory, and I kind of had forgotten that I had done this tutorial on that server. I only did it on a couple of my servers. I did it only on I went through this tutorial on a couple of my live nodes. I have 6 live nodes, 2 production and 4 relays. And so 3 of my nodes updated fine. And then when I went to update my production on Learn, I kept on getting errors, and I was really tired, and it was really making me upset. And so I figured it out first thing the next morning. I went to bed and said, you know what, forget it. I'll just fix it in the morning. And it turned out that in this etc fstab config, this line here, no execute, essentially pretty much disabled my temp folder, which I guess it's good if you remember that you've done this, because what I had to do is I had to go back in and remove this line. Once I did that, my update was fine. So if you want to do this step, that's fine. Just remember that you've done this step, and each time you're going to upgrade your node, you're going to have to come back into this file and delete out this line. Okay, let's have a quick look at this file just to see what it looks like. Make sure, I think it's a default file, so it should, yeah, okay. So this is just the default, and then they were saying, hey, go in and add this line, which is fine if you know it's there, and then go ahead and hit Control X. Whoops. Control X, yes, and hit yes. And then you would have to do a reboot for this to change. I'm not going to reboot the system right now. What the hell? We can do it. Sure, why not? Reboot the system. So now there's a lot of attacks in a lot of the attacks. A lot of the way people hack is it's called a buffer overload. And essentially they attack memory, and they try and overwhelm the memory. It is I don't know, I'm trying to think of a way to explain it in a common terms. But this is the attack that this is actually trying to prevent, which is good. But yeah, just remember to disable this. Come back when you are updating a node, or if you're updating a node and you get a memory problem, you're running out of memory, then you know, okay, I know what this is, and just come back to this. So you'd come back, you'd have to come back to this step, go ahead and go back in, and you'd have to come down and delete this line. I actually found another resource on the internet that actually changed this line a little bit, but then I think I ended up deleting it in the end anyways. I'm just going to leave it in there for now. I know I'm going to delete this server anyways. So, okay. Install failed to ban. So the next, we're going to do two more things. We're going to do fail to ban, and we're going to do UFW, the firewall. Okay. So fail to ban. What fail to ban does is, if another attack that happens quite a bit is people run scripts that just kind of sniff around the internet, and they're looking for ports that are open. Okay. Now fail to ban essentially doesn't allow. It's whenever someone keeps sniffing, and what they do is they try and they sniff and they find a port, and then they try and just keep sending commands to it, and they're trying to hard crack it, right? But what it does for your server, they're not going to get in, but your server's going to have to process every one of these requests, and that could slow down performance. So go ahead, download fail to ban. Done. Let's clear the screen. Okay. So the local file has to be the one that you edit. There's also a config file, which is, anyway, so just go ahead and copy this, paste it in there, and then you're going to have to edit it a little bit. So, okay. So if your IP of your workstation that you use is static, you could put in you could whitelist it, which would be ultra secure. Like, this would be awesome. But most likely your workstation at home, if you're getting your internet through some cable provider or some telephone communication company, your IP is most likely dynamic. It probably changes day to day, so you'd want to not do that. All right, so go ahead and change this port number to the port that you picked. What did I pick? I think I did this one, right? Okay. And then hit Control X, modify yes. Go ahead and hit save local. Yeah, I just want to have a quick look. So sudo nano etc fail to ban jail.config. Yeah, okay, so this is the default one. So if you go through here, so this is the default one. So if you don't change anything, it will use this default. And so you can go through this. There's 900 lines here. But really, for fail to ban, its primary purpose is to ban any scripts or any IPs that keep it hitting 22, keep attacking 22, port 22, and just ban them. So essentially what happens is, yeah, they can't attack your server. That's pretty much its primary focus, and that's all we really care about. That's going to be our main. So you don't need to configure anything else. So this is perfect. Again, you would have to restart this service for it to actually work. Now, as I said before in video 1 tutorial, you're logged in right now, but let's just make sure we didn't make a mistake, and we don't want to lock ourselves out of our server, right? So keep this window open, go to another window, or if you don't have another window open, go ahead and open another window. Log into your server again. I gotta change this. Hang on. So make sure you can log into your server, make sure you got all the correct information, you've put in the correct port, and go ahead and log in. Okay, I'm able to log in. So you just want to make sure that, especially because now we're going to do the firewall, you don't want to accidentally make one little boo-boo and then essentially you'll lock yourself out of your server, and you'll have to, which isn't the end of the world, I guess, right now if you're doing this on a brand new server. But if you're doing this on a production node that's been mining blocks, that would be a bit of a disaster. So, okay, UFW. And if you don't, you can always use Google, right? I use Google all the time for syntax. So you could say UFW syntax and find yourself another, you know, find here's DigitalOcean has a tutorial on UFW. It's for the previous version, but it 100% guarantee it hasn't changed. So you can see here they have an excellent tutorial already right here. So, but we'll go through these guys' tutorial. So I'm going to go through it line by line so we kind of understand what you're doing. So go ahead. You can copy this whole thing if you want, but I'm going to go line by line. So copy and paste. So we want to deny all incoming. Okay. So all traffic incoming is going to be denied. Nothing can come in. Don't worry, it's not enabled yet. So so we're just kind of doing some blanket ones, and then we'll manually enable some, like we'll manually enable SSH, but all outgoing is allowed. Okay. So anything that we send out, any of our programs, they just get through the firewall, no problem. And then you want to put in your SSH, whatever port that you chose. So allow SSH 2288 is the port I chose. Do I need a number sign? Allow 22 sudo UFW allow okay, I don't need this SSH. I don't need that line. Okay, that's redundant. Okay, so allow sudo UFW allow 2288. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, and so this one here is going to allow our nodes to talk to the Cardano network, talk to each other. Okay. And then you're going to enable okay. So it could disrupt SSH connections. What we've done so far, you shouldn't have made an error. So hit yes. Okay, now it's active again. So we're going to come over here. We're going to exit out. Okay, we're going to come back in and see if we can get in. Make sure you didn't lock yourself out. Okay, we're getting back in. Okay, so we haven't made any errors and we're not locked out of our own system. Okay, so that's very important. Always do that step. Always use two windows when you're doing UFW. Okay, now you can sudo UFW this status numbered. Okay. And it's going to show you, you have 4 rules. 2288 is allowed in. So anything can come in on 2288. So 6000 TCP is allowed in. Okay. And now you also see 3 and 4 kind of are duplicates, but it's this internet IP version 6. This really isn't really used. So we can delete it. And that's essentially what I'm going to do right now. I don't need, if I'm not using something, I'm just going to delete it. I don't want to use it. So let me see if I remember. Is it delete? I think it's delete. And then if we hit 3, it should delete the third rule. Yes. Okay, I got it right. And then you can retype it, but essentially what's happened now is the number 4 should actually be number 3 again. So I'm just gonna do this twice. Hit yes. And it tells you what I'm deleting. I'm deleting the, all right. And now you can do sudo UFW status numbered. And I just have the 2 I want. Perfect. We're done. Okay. So I'm not currently, I don't have these currently installed yet on my nodes. So I'm not going to go through this. I'm not 100%, not 100% sure about these programs or whatnot. So it may be dangerous to open these ports on a cloud node. Okay. So definitely not going to do this step. And here's another step where you can whitelist. Essentially, if you have a static IP from home, you can whitelist it. And so this would allow only your laptop to log in to your server, which is, it's awesome. But you have to have a static IP. So I guess there could be some solutions where you could maybe contact your, maybe if you were in the United States and you were with Verizon, maybe you could set up a static IP with a mobile phone, and then you could maybe use your mobile phone as your internet hotspot, and then you can always connect your laptop to your Verizon phone with a static IP. But yeah, so this wouldn't really work for me. I travel too much because I use a laptop. But maybe if you were working as an admin somewhere and you're always at one desk with a static IP, then this would be an awesome step to use. Okay, your local daily laptop or PC. Okay, let me just see. Okay, so this step here is an extra hardening rule for your block producer. So you could only allow your relays IPs. A little bit of overkill. I'm not going to do that one. And yeah, that's it. I don't think you really need to harden your server any more than this. What we've done in this tutorial and in essentially video 1 is you've enabled SSH for one, for 4096-bit encryption. You've disabled the root. You've changed the default SSH port. You've installed fail to ban. You've installed a firewall. I think you're good to go. I think your server's hard. And then the last thing, I'm just going to keep repeating this, but I really want to pound it home. It's ultra important nowadays. This is the only way you're going to get hacked. I guarantee it. Only way you're going to get hacked. Install Google Authenticate on all your social, all your email, everything. And yeah, that's really social engineering is the #1 way people get hacked. It's not from some awesome coder guy like Mr. Robot. Not very often. I'm sure NSA has their tricks. I'm sure other agencies like NSA have their tricks, but generally 99.9% of people that are hacked are social engineered. Okay. Thanks guys. Smash the like button for me. Let me know in the comments if you really want another video. I don't mind making them, so let me know. All right guys. Ate it to the moon. Take care.